Hey fam, today I'm making some shredded beef tacos with a side soup. It's a 2-for-1 deal that I use when I want to use the same protein for 2 dishes. It works out nicely, and I hope you like it. Okay, here we have around 1.2 pounds of beef flank steak. The point is to get a cut that shreds nicely because that's how I want the meat for the tacos. Let's set the Instant Pot to the saute function for around 21 minutes on high. Add around a tablespoon of oil. The Instant Pot doesn't have a flat bottom, so the oil won't spread easily, and it's not a good idea to pick it up while it's on. So instead, I'll just brush it with the meat right before it's too hot. In the meantime, let's dice a quarter of green pepper. It can be a rough chop. A quarter of an onion. Check on the meat to see if it's ready to be flipped. I'm frying it to create a bit of an extra flavor with the fond at the bottom of the pot. Now let's cut the last item, which is a tomato. This can be your most ripe tomato. This is to create a base flavor. So let's take out the meat and throw in what we just chopped. Stir it well, and some of the fond will start to come off. I'm adding 3 cups of water so I can pressure cook the meat. This will also serve as the base for the soup. For aromatics and spices, I'm adding 3 cloves of garlic, half a teaspoon of adobo mix, half a teaspoon of oregano, 2 small bay leaves, 1 tablespoon and an additional teaspoon of soy sauce, a dash of cracked pepper. Close the Instant Pot and set it to pressure cook for 25 minutes on high. I'm basing this on the instructions that come with the Instant Pot. While that's cooking, we can prepare the rest of the ingredients for the soup. Of course, we can add some carrots. I'm adding 3. 2 was probably enough. Next, some celery. I'll cut up 3 stalks, and 2 was probably a better choice. This is a vegetable known as guisquil or chayote. This one you probably have seen, and this is a gray squash. It's just another veggie that's easy to put into a soup. Since I was going to take out the meat from the soup, I felt like adding a substitute. Some big fleshy portobello mushrooms felt like a good option. Looks like the meat has finished. I'll quick release it, since there isn't a lot of liquid. After I've taken out the meat, let's add the veggies we just prepared. Here's where you'll see that I went a little overboard with the veggies. I added 2 more cups of water, and you can see in the shot the measurements for the Instant Pot. It's close to the maximum capacity. Let's put the lid on and close it properly so we can set it to pressure cook for 5 minutes. None of these veggies take too long to cook. so I could probably just use 2 to 3 minutes instead. While that's cooking, let's prepare the ingredients for the tacos. Again, I like having a base, so I'll finely chop a quarter to half of a green pepper, depending on the size. A quarter of an onion, finely chopped. And 1 ripe tomato. Use 2 tomatoes if you want it saucier. Here's what takes the most time, for me at least. It's shredding the meat. Some people use forks, but I like using my hands. I feel like I have a bit more control on how fine I shred the meat. The Instant Pot was done a while back, and I let it sit for 10 or so minutes before trying to release the remainder of the pressure. I also give it a little nudge to move the liquid before I open it. Taste it and adjust your seasoning. It looks pretty good. But like I said, I could probably reduce the cooking time to cook the veggies a little bit less. Now we're moving on to the tacos. Set up a pan to medium-high heat and add 1 tablespoon of oil. Throw in the base we chopped earlier. Let's add some spices. I'll start with some cracked pepper. A quarter teaspoon of garlic powder. A pinch of cayenne pepper. A quarter teaspoon of adobo. Mix well. Cover with a lid, set the fire to low, and cook for around 6 minutes. Once everything is soft and the onions are a bit see-through, then we can add the shredded meat. I added a little bit more olive oil, maybe a tablespoon. It needs it because this cut of meat was pretty lean. Just mix it well and cook it for about 5 minutes. Turn off the fire and cover it. For the toppings that we'll be using on the tacos, let's roughly chop some cilantro and onion. To make things easy, I just combine them in one bowl. I usually separate them, but not today. Now we have some great ripe avocados. Again, just something simple, so I'm doing a crisscross cut and then scooping them up. Add salt to your liking and mash them. I find it easier to do with a fork than with a spoon. That's it for the toppings. Let's serve a bit of soup. As a side note, To warm up the tortillas, I use a hot cast iron pan and sprinkle the tortillas with olive oil on one side. Put them on the pan and move them around to spread out the oil so you can cover them completely. Just heat them up until they are flexible and have a light brown on one side. Okay, time to assemble the tacos. The meat looks delicious. But first, let's add a garnish to the soup. I knew something was missing. Now let's add some avocado to the tacos. The cilantro onion mix. And to finish it off, squirt some lime juice on top. That's it. So what'd you think? Give me your tips. What spices would you use? Maybe I'll use some in the future. Like if you watched the whole thing and subscribe if you want to know when the next video comes out. Cheers!